we have a real housing shortage in America. I mean, an affordable housing shortage. It's not 2007-08 when we had a bunch of irresponsible lending and a bunch of foreclosures and a bunch of extra inventory. We truly are in a shortage situation, and I don't see it getting better.
Rich, he's a second-time guest, former naval officer and CEO of Renters Warehouse Houston, which is the most successful Renters Warehouse franchise in the nation. He's also the oldest homebuilders franchise, and he's flipped, I don't know, some 1,500 houses. You got a little bit of experience. Looks like you're enjoying the outside. Can you hear me all right?
I can. I was sitting by the pool and it started raining. I had to get on the porch.
All right. So, we've been talking about the housing market and everything else going on in the market, low inventory, recession talk looming. What are your thoughts on what we're going to be experiencing over the next 12, 24 months?
I had to speak at a lunch and learn the other day, and so I kind of focused on what does Wall Street know that we don't know, right? Because you look at, they don't know everything, but when you got some of the most highly educated and finger on the pulse of the economy people in the world, and all they're doing is raising billions of dollars to buy more single family rentals in the Sun Belt, that tells you something, right? They are looking at it and seeing what I've seen, and a lot of people in Houston that talk on social media or talk at events and that have a lot of experience in buying and selling and fixing and renting and you name it, is we have a real housing shortage in America. I mean, an affordable housing shortage. It's not 2007-08 when we had a bunch of irresponsible lending and a bunch of foreclosures and a bunch of extra inventory. We truly are in a shortage situation, and I don't see it getting better. I mean, if you look at, how many houses were built in the last year versus how many houses were built in the 1950s, it's about the same. Well, yeah. we need more houses than we did back then, and we're not building them. And the ones that are getting built aren't $140,000.
No, I mean, really, sub 200,000. It's pretty much extinct unless it's
darn near gone. Yep.
Yeah, unless it's maybe a tiny home or a modular home, and maybe that that's what becomes the first time home buyer home.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Mobile homes. Hell, you can't buy a mobile home for what you could buy it for a year or two ago. Man, they're doubled to buy say a new one. And
100%. I've seen them now, especially if it comes with an acre or two. 300 easy.
It's insane.
So from an investor standpoint, you alluded on to, hey, look what the big guys are doing. There's a reason why they're literally trying to gobble up as much real estate as possible. They have more information than we do. Now you can like that or not. You can like those companies or not, but at the end of the day, that's what they're doing. So you're saying, hey, I'm watching them and I'm trying to see, hey, how can I do the same thing?
We've been in that mode since day one. I don't see a bubble coming. I used to argue on social media quite a bit. Now I just kind of throw up my 2 cents in once in a while. And someone said something about a bubble. I said, except it's not a bubble. And get me wrong, I don't know anything, so I wouldn't listen to me for investment advice anyway. But I don't see a bubble coming just because it's a true shortage. I don't see 20% appreciation for the next 5 years per year like we had last year. But if you had 20% appreciation and you put 20% down on a house, you just doubled your money in 1 year, right?
Yeah.
So you think about, people don't think like that. And the commercial real estate industry has been thinking like that for decades, is buy something, make a little bit of money on it, maybe, if you can, but really they don't care about cash flow. They care about building wealth and appreciation. And that's what we've, over the last 5 years learned, that's what you really need to focus on.
Yeah. Wealth preservation. Yeah, wealth preservation through staving off inflation, also substantial tax benefits, and then you've got the appreciation side and cash flow side, which is the wealth creation. Yep. You got preservation and creation, and the rich understand this.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a good point.
Yeah,
No,
go
I'm saying
ahead.
that's a good point about that's a good point about the preservation is you got a place to put your money, and you don't if you're in the stock market, you know what's happened over the last 60, 90 days. It's pitiful, and
Right.
it's
So,
very
'cause,
volatile, very
yeah,
risky, and very
if you
volatile.
have $1 million in your bank account last year, you lost $75,000, which is, I mean, that's probably somewhere around the average income of America. So if you had $1 million in your bank account, now it's $75,000 less. So
Oh yeah,
if you don't
buying
have
power
somewhere to
wise.
put it, like, you just buy something, you pay cash for it.
Well, and I would argue that's a conservative number. I think the inflation rate's higher than that. The true rate is higher than what the government's putting out. But that's the hard assets are where you put your money when in inflationary times, and we got it going on. So hard assets are the place to be because if you like you said, if you got cash, it's worth less every day. But if you have an asset and dollars become less valuable, the asset becomes more valuable. And if you can leverage to buy that asset, you multiply your return.
Love it, love it. Well, every time I talk to you, you seem like you have like this oasis in the background. So
Oh yeah.
life must be good.
Well, I don't know about that. You ought to see the overhead of this place. Good
All right. It was nice talking with you, Rich.